Process 3 years ago. I was just telling people it was June 15th and 16th, 2015 that we actually started filming. And we were starting in pre-production well before that. And I'm so excited that all that work, all that hard work that our editor Mike is here today and I put in post-production and everything is now brought to the forefront. And without the people that made this film possible, without Andrew, Stella, Grant, Zach, and so many other people, we could not have made this movie. And so that I, want to dedicate that to them, to Kane, and all of you for coming out. Thank you so much for coming.
First of all, Derek, thank you for making such a great film. I was wondering, Derek, if you could tell me basically, maybe your filmmaking history up until making this film. Was it true that you read the book, and while you were reading the book, you knew you wanted to tell the story cinematically?
Yeah, it was. I saw some videos online of Kane telling bits of the story at places like Dark Delicacies, where we're doing a signing 1 week from today, and also other things as well. And I knew he could tell
Dark Delicacies in Burbank. Yeah.
In Burbank, yes. And I knew he could tell the story, so I then wanted to hear the whole story. So I read the book, and then ended up reading it like 5 more times. And realized like this has a huge power of not just a horror story, but a human interest one. And I knew that I wanted to be the one to make it. So I shared it with my producer and attorney, Andrew Barcelo, who, also agreed that this film should be made. And we got on, we jumped on board, contacted Kane's manager, set up a meeting with him, and, the rest is history.
Now, Kane, you'd already done the book, which I don't know if a film could have happened if you didn't do the book first. I think it would have been hard to tackle the story had you not gone through that experience. What was it about Derek and Andrew and his crew that convinced you that these were the guys to do your story justice cinematically?
It's a good question because I was very happy with the book and I thought that would be sufficient. And then, I heard rumblings about people that wanted to maybe do a documentary, and I wasn't sure if it was necessary, and I didn't even know if I wanted to do it. It was already hard enough to tell the story for the book. So I met with Derek and Andrew, and I just in that first meeting, I usually get a pretty good sense of people's character when I meet with them for the first time, and I thought Derek, first of all, would tell the story the way I wanted to, because a lot of documentary people would have tried to limit my vulgarity. But that's how I talk. I said, if you want to tell my story, I'm going to talk the way I normally talk. I don't want you to sanitize anything. This stuff I'm going to talk about is not easy material to hear, so I don't want it to be kind of sugar-coated, make it easier for the viewer or anything. And I could tell by Derek that first meeting that he was the guy that should do this. So I left that meeting knowing we were going to do it.
And just a fanboy out for a second. So I met Kane when I was 13 years old at a February Weekend of Horrors convention. I'm sure a lot of you have similar stories So Derek, I'm curious, did you have any interaction with Kane before that meeting? Did you meet him at a convention before, or was that the first time?
The first time I met him was at the meeting, actually.
Oh, wow.
I had opportunities. I'd been at places where Kane was for very, I was at the premiere of Chillerama at the cemetery. I had been to other signings at places like Dark Delicacies and such. But I never, the same thing with Adam Green, I never approached either of them before I knew I wanted to work with them, because I wanted the first time to be as a colleague, not as a fan. I met a lot of people as fans, and that's great, but I knew with these guys I wanted to be, to be a working relationship as well.
Kane, how much freedom did you give Derek and his crew with the movie? Because I saw you in the audience here, and I imagine it's probably difficult to sit through this movie. It's emotional. So I don't know how many times you've seen it or how involved you were, but can you talk a little bit about how much input you have, I guess, in the final version?
Well, Derek, one of the first things we agreed on was that I would have final okay about the end product. If there was something I didn't like, then he would be agreeable to possibly changing it. So that's the only way I would have gone into it anyway, in the first place. And, you know, it is, I thought I was coming here and I would introduce the film and stay for a little bit and watch. Unfortunately, we got stuck in traffic, so I didn't get here in time to introduce or help introduce, and I'm sorry about that, but I tried. And I ended up staying for the whole thing because I thought it would be kind of rude to show up, watch for a little bit, and then leave. But it is kind of difficult to watch, even though I've seen it, you know, numerous times. It's still hard to remember some of the stuff I'm talking about. But ultimately, I thought I should, you know, at least stay around, watch the movie, see the reaction. I appreciate you guys coming in. And where's Rick? There he is. Okay. I'm glad you came down, man, because he and I have been working together for a long time, a lot of movies together. So, and Jack Coleman is up there. You saw him in the film. We've been friends for almost as long as Rick and I. So, but it's just nice that my friends come and also a lot of fans, and you support the film, and I appreciate it.
Derek, as a fellow documentarian, I know that you have to wade through a lot of footage to cut down what you think the key story is. What was the hardest thing to cut out of your final movie? Which, by the way, 90 minutes deleted scenes on the Blu-ray. But what of that was the hardest to cut out?
I think cutting out a lot of the additional stories on probably part 8. There was a really good section about the Arsenio Hall show and everything. That plus the Friday the 13th video game section, because I knew how ecstatic everyone was about that being made. We wanted to tell, the key to making a film about somebody is knowing it isn't crucial to their story, it isn't necessarily crucial to the movie. And even though it was crucial to the career, if it didn't move his story along, we had to make the decision to cut it. That way it would be a nice, easily digestible length so everyone at home can watch it. And if they were interested, we, like you said, 90 minutes of additional stuff, which gets into a lot of the areas where if people are like, I wish it had more of that, well, we have it. We had 39 hours of just Kane talking. I'll hear it.
We'll be releasing that next year. So I know for a lot of people in this room, this is the first time you saw the film. I want to open up to questions, both from friends, colleagues, and fans. I brought a couple of copies of this movie on Blu-ray. Here's the deal. The question's better be awesome. I'm going to let Kane decide. If your question is good, you get a copy of the Blu-ray. Right?
We also have patches, iron-on patches for the film, and also one T-shirt that we'll also be giving to people who ask questions. So if you don't get a copy of the movie, you will get something.
So we're bribing you to bring your A game. Right? Who's got a question?
Something I haven't heard.
Straight from the right to the left. That's you.
For part 7, I know they dropped the roof on you.
Yes.
And I know you're very experienced. What was the preparation for that, and what was the actual end game? What actually happened once it fell on you?
Yeah, that's a story that there was no preparation at all. Lou Carlucci was the effects guy, and he said, we're going to drop the entire front of the home, of the shack, I guess, onto you while you're standing on the porch. And I said, okay, well, is it balsa? And he said, no, it's real. It's all structured. And he said, but what we're going to do is we're going to build the middle 10 feet of it out of balsa. So the 10 feet that hit you will be balsa wood. But when you connect 10 feet of balsa wood on edge, like 2x6s on edge, and it's all connected to real stuff for the other 10 feet on either side, it's all one weight. So I had no idea how hard it was going to hit me. And I even thought, well, it's balsa wood, so will I have to pretend to fall down when it hits me? Oh no, it drilled the shit out of me. Drove me into the stairs, cut my head, through the mask and through the prosthetics. And, I wrung my bell pretty well, but yeah. there was no preparation, and it was a one-take deal because there was no reset either. So, you know.
Did he earn a disc?
Sure. Reminding me of that horrible pain. No, it's just another scar. That's all it is. How about in the blue?
You were talking in the film about the disappointment with Freddy versus Jason and how.
Now I have to go try to hang myself. I guess that's it. We're done.
But that how you liked all the fan outpouring of support and disappointment. Did you feel any closure doing the video game? Again, just the idea that everybody considers you to be Jason.
Well, the fact that I'm Jason throughout the new video game was really helpful to me getting over everything, because to me that means, like, in someone's mind that I played the ultimate version of Jason. If they want me to be the motion capture performer for Jason in a video game, that means they were happy with the performance. So it was an honor to be chosen for that. We did the motion capture over 1 year and 10 months. Almost 2 years, you know, off and on. But the interesting thing about that was that while we were doing the motion capture, you know, as you know, when I played Jason, I never ran. And I had certain parameters that I wouldn't go past when I was playing the character. But now they're telling me, well, in the game you're going to be able to play as Part 3, Brooker, Part 4, Ted White, Part 6, CJ. So I had to consider doing different motions as Jason, because in Part 3, Brooker, as Jason ran. So I had to do some running on the motion capture stage, because I felt that if you're playing as Part 3, you should be able to play how he was in the movie. So I wanted to try and, you know, do justice to the other guys' performances. So it was a little different, but I was just happy that I was chosen. And yes, it did help to, you know, ease some old pain. That's a good question. Okay.
Throughout the documentary, which is awesome, by the way, we track your progression as an actor. What would you say, artistically speaking, is the most challenging role you've played? Whether it be something with full prosthetics or just you?
Well, I mean, it depends on what's challenging. Rick and I did a movie called Project Metal Beast. Yeah. Rick doubled, what's his name? Barry Bostwick. Yeah, Barry Bostwick. So doubled him. And I was the Metal Beast. So I was a 7-foot tall, half mechanical, half real werewolf. And I had to walk in stilts because my legs had to appear like they were canine. So I was in stilts, but at this position while walking. So it was incredibly hard to work in, and I couldn't wait for the scene that Barry Bostwick dies so I could fucking take my anger out on Rick. And I did. There's some good scenes, and he remembers that, but physically that was, you know, very challenging, just because it was all full body makeup and in a bad position when performing. And you know, some of the acting things I don't find difficult. They may be challenging, but I enjoy that part of it, so I can't really say that it wasn't enjoyable. And especially when I'm given a role that's so different. It may be hard to pull off. You saw a quick thing in the outtake, or not outtakes, but the final montage during the credits where I'm dancing as a limo driver. It was Danielle Harris's movie that she directed, and Among Friends, right? Yeah. And she let me just do whatever I wanted, so I thought I've never danced in a movie. And that's fucking why. I can't dance for shit, but it was a challenge to do something new, so I did. Yes, sir.
Did you shoot any, for the video game, did you do any mocap work for Jason X that never got released?
We did. He's asking about mocap work for the game for Jason X, and yes, I did some Uber Jason stuff that I'm hearing may not ever see the light of day now because of the legal issues, so I'm hoping that's not true, but you're supposed to be able to play as Uber Jason. And you know, you say you did motion capture work for Uber Jason, but I always look the same. You know, I'm in spandex with sensors everywhere, so that's scary already. And, you know, so I had to picture what I was going to look like. You know, I always looked the same whether I was different Jasons, so it was a little challenging, but since I could look at a monitor and see myself instantly animated, then it helped a lot. But it was, I hope they resolve things, because there's some really good stuff that we haven't seen yet. You right there?
We call him first because we have a bet.
Except we have a bet.
You have a bet?
Yeah.
Who will be called on
He
first?
buys dinner if he
Oh, that's her then.
Oh,
So after you went back into doing stunts and working with fire, did you wait until after you went back into stunts to like tell your family, and how did they also react? Did they support you and understand it was like your passion?
When I started doing fire stunts again,
Yeah.
whether my family reacted poorly to it
Did they
yet.
understand?
That's a really good question, because I'm not sure. My parents aren't around anymore, and my dad only lived for not even 3 years after I got out of the hospital. So he never saw my success. He just saw me quit college, drop out. His dream was for his son to get a degree. I dropped out after a year and a half to do stunts. Then I almost died doing the stunt. Then I barely get working, and then he passes away. So he never saw that. And that's kind of a hard thing that I always have to deal with. I mean, you know, I guess you can hope that he knows, but who knows, really. But I'm not sure how they felt when I started doing fire stunts again. I wish I had my dad around long enough to ask him, you know, because he was gone before I did it again. And my mom, I think, always just supported whatever I thought I should do. She was very, you know, very supportive in everything. Even when I left college, she didn't give me any kind of negative feelings about it. So I think her feeling and my sister's, for instance, were like, well, if he thinks he can do it, he's the one that already been through the burn. So if he thinks he can do it properly, then who are we to say? So I think that's probably what it was. That's a T-shirt right there.
Yeah.
And now your lane question.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. Having played Jason Voorhees and also Hatchet and all these other iconic roles in between, it was kind of cool for us as an audience to get a chance to see you express interest in potentially playing other roles outside of a mask. That being said, I mean, are there things in the future that you hope to do in that realm outside of BTK and Ed Gein, or move into a different serious role, whether in the horror community or drama or so on and so forth? Is there something that really speaks to you?
I wouldn't say anything in particular, but I love the idea of, as I said, trying something new. But any actor, and I never thought I'd be an actor. I thought I would be a stunt performer my entire life. Never thought I would enjoy acting as much as I did doing stunts. So the fact that I do enjoy that just as much, if not more, is kind of a new thing to me. So any actor will tell you they love to do something different and something challenging. And, you know, I mean, I was doing stunts on Days of Our Lives. Once in a while, I was a stunt coordinator doing pretty good stunts on the show, off and on. Jack and I were roommates at the time. He was on a show called Dynasty. And so I would be able to pick up on some of the stuff he was doing while I'm doing my stunts, but I'm looking at that saying, that is very cool too. Some of the stuff he's doing is almost as interesting as what I'm doing, and I never thought I'd think that. So I'm up for trying anything in the acting realm that comes my way. You know, I mean, I think any actor would say that. Okay.
I was there the day you danced on Among Friends.
Oh, it's a good memory for you, isn't it?
It was a fun day watching you improvise.
What were you doing there?
I was the first AD.
Oh, yes.
My question is there anything specific you've learned as an actor that continues to inform your work?
I would say just be observant. That I've learned to observe everything in every walk of life. Not when you're working necessarily, just when you're going about your life. I like to observe how people are reacting to certain things. You know, if someone's angry about something, or if somebody's hurt, or not injured, but emotionally hurt, or something like that, I just like to watch how they are actually expressing their emotions to something real. And then keep that back in the back of my mind. That's how someone reacts when this happens, and that was real. So I can't say that it's not believable, because that's what I saw. So I try to just kind of lock away everything that I might see during my life. I mean, I saw a lot of emotional stuff while I was in the hospital that I use all the time when I do an emotional scene. So, I don't know. It's just nothing in particular, but I like observation. I think we just can do one more question. Right here.
If you didn't do stunt work, so you weren't acting,
I'd be in jail. If I wasn't doing stunt work or acting, what would I be doing? No.
Occupation-wise.
What?
Occupation-wise.
Well, I mean,
interest?
I was going to college to become a cartographer, of all things. I was majoring in geography. I loved map making and cartography, and I still enjoy looking at a map of the world somewhere. So I'd probably have some boring, shitty map making job. And hopefully not doing too much.
Before we wrap up, I just want to know what both of you are up to next. Derek, I know how long a documentary takes. It's a long journey, and here we are. So have you started thinking about how you can follow this up? And after that, Kane, what are you up to next?
Well, yeah, Andrew and I produced a horror thriller film called They're Inside that's about to begin its festival run pretty soon. And then as far as documentaries, I know we announced a while ago, and Adam's still been talking about it in press, that we will be working on the Holliston documentary when it's still in the early stages, but we'll be working on that. And then I have a bunch of ideas for follow-up docs and other films, but until something's signed and in writing, I'm not going to say anything more about that.
And I recently finished shooting a film with the Impractical Jokers. I don't know if you know that TV show, but they did a film, and I was a stunt coordinator in it, and I also played a bodyguard to, I think I'm not supposed to say, but a very famous singer and dancer, is in the movie. And I played her bodyguard, and I get to mess with the Impractical Jokers guys. So that was a lot of fun. We shot that in Atlanta, and I have a couple of films out of the country coming up that I'm not supposed to discuss yet, but one is going to be in Spain, and I'm looking forward to that, and the other one in Greece. So that'll be interesting. I just want to say thanks again for everybody coming out, because I look around and I see friends that I see at conventions and friends that I've seen for years, and I appreciate you coming down here, and thank you for watching the story.